Hello, Branded. This guide will be a more advanced guide dealing with the release version of the iconic skills in the game, but generally since the demo has already shown the majority of the Phoenix, Garuda and Titan skills, I'll be focusing on the rest instead. If you still do want to take a look at a simple breakdown of those skills, I'll pin a link to my previous videos in the comments. This video though will be about the Eikon Ramuh, its uses and some easy practical combos. As usual, this video took time and effort to make, so if you found this to be of value, do drop a like and a sub. First, let's take a look at Ramuh's iconic feat, which is Blind Justice. The Blind Justice skill has a unique property for light enemies whereby it converts horizontal momentum or the z-axis momentum into a vertical one. As shown here on the lunge thrust and magic burst, the enemy gets blown back. But if I put a single orb on the enemy, the blowback doesn't happen and it moves up vertically instead. Here's some simple combos where I'm using the mechanic that I just mentioned to juggle the enemy. Basically, this skill in a way is a crowd control skill, or if you're the kind of person who just likes playing a zoner or from a distance, this is the mage class. Now on heavy enemies, you won't have this vertical juggling available, but it does make up by giving you a good way of taking out a good chunk of the wheel bar of enemies. Additionally, this also charges up your limit break gauge quite fast, so that's one angle you can consider using. Other details not mentioned for this skill is that you can cancel it by pressing your jump button, and you can use Satellite, the Bahamut skill, while charging the skill up, thus maintaining your DPS uptime if you're going the zoner route. And finally, you can actually stack the orb slowly as long as it doesn't exceed the max amount. This is a viable strategy since getting the full count takes up time when you're dealing with a single enemy. But do take note that the damage will always scale higher based on the amount of orbs you've initially charged. As you can see here, where the more orbs you charge, the more your cumulative damage increases, so just keep that in mind. Before I forget, regarding the damage for Blind Justice stacks, as you can see here, despite using a full hit of upheaval at close range, there is always a cap to the damage, so using a normal lunge to detonate those orbs are fine. Alright, now let's take a look at both Thunderstorm and Pile Drive. Thunderstorm, as shown previously, can pick up an enemy that is down or juggle an enemy from the air if you're right beneath it. If done close to a heavy enemy, it will do damage instead, where a bigger sized enemy will get hit more. This skill also has a long recovery frame after the lightning animation starts, and this recovery frame can be cancelled if you're using the Odin's Rift Slip skill. Pile Drive, on the other hand, is a big AoE attack, mainly for crowd control and putting lighter enemies in the down state. This is where you can continue your offense by using Blind Justice, since it takes the enemy some time to get up. On a heavy enemy though, Pile Drive does a respectable amount of damage to the wheel bar. Ideally, the game plan when you start a battle is you'd want to go with Blind Justice first, into Pile Drive, and Blind Justice again, since Pile Drive increases the amount of time the enemy stays down on the ground. Of course, you can also do Pile Drive first and then Blind Justice, since that's the recommended route. So just play around and experiment. I've noticed that it's usually best to use this skill either at the start or the end of a combo, because it pushes all your enemy far away, so keep that in mind. Moving forward to possibly one of the strongest skills in the game, which is Lightning Rod. Basically, as most people know, you can do 30 hits with this and combo it with another skill or attack it to deal big will gouge damage and health damage. Some things that people tend to miss about this skill is that you can actually change its placement by pressing on the execution button again. Also, any enemies that charge themselves into the skill will show a change of color to red. This will deal bonus damage to their will bar, but do take note that if they hit the rod with their attack and you're in it as well, it'll backfire and damage you instead. I find it very funny to use this skill along Willow Wike's and Garuda skill since it just decimates enemies. Last but not least, let's take a look at your Judgment Bolt skill. As usual, this is your typical ultimate skill for an Eikon, which means it slows the stagger bar. On upgrade, it does 2 hits and it hits a main target and some targets around it as well. Although it's only the main target which will get the full damage. You can use this to trigger your Blind Justice moves, but generally most people would just save it until the enemy is fully staggered. Alright, so before I end this vid, I'll show you some possible combos on situations where you can use Ramuh's Blind Justice skills and Pile Drive especially. I could do the same for Lightning Rod, but since it's already one of the strongest skills out there, I feel that the skill combos are pretty saturated. If you have any other interesting combos, do drop a comment down below. Thanks and keep having fun.